Begin in Abuja, where the Supreme Court has warned the political class to desist from instituting frivolous cases in courts through manipulative judicial officers in their desperation to cling to power. Well, this warning was issued by the Apex Court on Wednesday during the delivery of judgment in the case between the People's Democratic Party versus Ali Modu Sharif and 4 others, where the Ahmed Makarfi-led National Caretaker Committee of the party won the day. TVC News' Somna Sambu reports.
They are the Supreme Court for supporters of both groups laying claim to the leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, who are seated and eagerly awaiting the outcome. In a 93-page unanimous judgment by 5 justices, the Supreme Court affirmed that the Ahmed Makarfi-led National Caretaker Committee of the opposition PDP was properly constituted by the National Convention that dissolved the Ali Modu Sharif-led National Executive on May 21st, 2016 in Port Harcourt. But the Supreme Court justices also had harsh words for the political class, especially Ali Modu Sharif and his team, who were accused of engaging in forum shopping for favorable judgments through frivolous court cases that only deserve to be in the judicial dustbin of history. It awarded 250,000 naira against them. In a lead judgment delivered by Justice Bode Rotsvival, the Supreme Court says Sharif displayed infantile desperation by filing over 10 suits against the Ahmed Makarfi-led National Caretaker Committee. After a wild jubilation by the winning side, some leaders of the party addressed the media.
The judgment is correct. This is the Supreme Court. There's nowhere else to go. They must be reconciled to the judgment, be reconciled to one another, and come together and work together as a party.
There is not going to be victimization. We are going to pursue genuine reconciliation with members that are willing to be reconciled, but all in the overall interest of the party. We'll be back in power 2019. That is what is next, and that is what we are going to work on.
This represents hope and future for Nigeria. The attempt to silence opposition has come to an end today, and by the grace of God, the party is set for victory in 2019.
We congratulate the justices because they've judged correctly and they've set in motion a new powerful process of democracy in Nigeria.
Ali Modu Sharif was not in the Supreme Court, while his legal team and Deputy Cairo Jobo hurriedly left the court premises without briefing the media. Somna Sambu, TVC News, Abuja.
Well, after that judgment, top public office holders and former officials of the opposition People's Democratic Party accompanied the Ahmed Makarfi-led National Caretaker Committee to take possession of the party secretariat in the Wuse district of Abuja. There was a brief meeting which had in attendance its highest-ranking public official, talking about Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu. Well, former ministers of the Goodluck Jonathan administration also held their gathering where they commended the judiciary for the verdict.
Some have been tortured, some have been persecuted for the last 2 years since this man Ali Modu Sharif was calling the shots with the government. But today, God said the end has come for the end. And we shall go from strength to strength.
So come and wait for further directive from the National Secretariat. It's a great day for us.
We are going to have a viable opposition for the ruling party to put them on toes, so that they will do the right thing all the time in order for the country to enjoy political stability, economic viability, and social harmony.
The Caretaker Committee, there had been a mandate which they have been working upon, and that mandate will end with organizing a credible and acceptable convention that will see to the election of credible again and National Working Committee in that convention. We want to call on the Caretaker Committee to immediately take this opportunity to begin to make necessary arrangements
And the Senate caucus of the People's Democratic Party in the National Assembly has also described the Supreme Court judgment on the PDP leadership tussle as a victory for democracy. Addressing newsmen, the Senate Minority Leader, Senator Godswill Akpabio, called on all members of PDP to return and rebuild the party. The PDP lawmakers, who were obviously in support of Makarafi, applauded the Supreme Court for delivering justice on the matter.
We do not want to lose a single member, and so we are describing that victory as what we may say, no victor, no vanquish. It was a family quarrel, and therefore the blood remains the same. The blood remains the same. The blood of the PDP is in the veins of both sides. And therefore we are saying today that with this decision of the Supreme Court, we must come back together as a family, and we have indeed come back together as a family.
I would like to congratulate the judiciary because I think they've taken a very courageous decision in the face of all that is happening. And with this decision and this judgment now, the change is truly on course.
It's a victory again for our democracy. I just want to say that there's no victor and there's no vanquished. We must come together as a party, and let me congratulate all our teaming supporters for their patience. So as we come together, I believe we must all pursue, we must all overtake, and must all recover. So congratulations to all peace-loving people of this country. I want to salute the judiciary for their courage.
Well, let's get more perspective on this PDP judgment as we bring in now via Skype, though, Public Affairs and Communications Analyst Lanre Akinola to speak about this. Thank you very much for joining us at this time. We understand you're in Ogun State at the moment. All right, so, well, many of the PDP members who have spoken about this Supreme Court judgment say it's just a case of no victor, no vanquished. When you look at, you know, the bickerings that were recorded during this leadership tussle that the Supreme Court has finally brought to an end. What's your, well, conclusion on the matter?
Well, let's hope that, according to PDP slang, let's hope it's a family quarrel. And since it has been externalized and the Supreme Court, being the highest court in the land, has taken a decision, let's hope that the PDP will now go back, mend fences, and put their house in order. That said and done, it is now left in their own court to see how they can actually forgive each other, and the party that won should be magnanimous in their victory, and the party that lost should also just concede it and then work together as a team.
But do you see this reconciliation as a task now, or as a duty that the Ali Modu Sheriff-led caucus now would want to embrace with open arms? The only person present during that judgment was, Ali Modu Sheriff's vice president or deputy chairman, talking about Cairo now, who we understand left the court premises without saying anything. Sheriff himself wasn't even there. But with all that has happened between yesterday and now, do you think reconciliation might be something they will embrace with open arms?
Well, by my knowledge of Nigerian politics does not give me that kind of impression. I think what politicians will naturally do is to appraise the situation and see where their egg will hatch first. If PDP were to be in power, definitely everybody will rush back. But now that PDP is in the opposition, and it seems to be gaining ground in some places, you apparently see some of them moving towards PDP, and some of the aggrieved we also look for alternative and see whether they can get some recognition and preference in the ruling party. So I doubt very much if we can have a very smooth reconciliation. I still believe that what PDP needs to do is to see how they can bring in as many of those who are disgruntled back into their fold, and then try to reach out to other interested parties and start to build afresh. But saying that the two parties will probably bury the hatchet and come together, as it is now, I don't want to agree it's going to be that smooth.
And then finally, we get to see PDP hopefully talking with one voice now in what they say will now be them offering Nigerians and the polity in itself a viable opposition. It's going to be the first time now, well, since they were beaten after so many years in power, now they get to be the opposition. What would it be like with PDP offering what they hope will be a viable opposition now?
I think as a Nigerian, I'm glad that the Supreme Court has put paid to all the crises, and if PDP can come back together, that would be a plus for our democracy. APC has enjoyed almost 2.5 years of, freedom to do whatever they want to do. PDP was not organized. Let's hope that PDP will be better organized and then offer Nigerians an alternative voice and then put APC on its toes. To some extent, I see some level of lackadaisical attitude from the APC, and that's made possible because they were not being pushed, they were not being shoved by the opposition. So if PDP can rise up to this challenge, it will be interesting, it will be good for our democracy. But again, I tell you, I see politics as a game. They go to the second half now, and then they go and re-strategize, go and replan. We'll start seeing that from the National Assembly. Because if you see the composition of the National Assembly now, the core APC people, the people who form the APC, are in the minority. You find the other people who came into APC having some level of control. But let's hope that the people in the executive and the core APC people can mend fences also. And let's see what happens. But I tell you, 2018, 2019 will be very, very interesting for those of us who see politics as a game.
All right, Lanre Akinola, the Public Affairs and Communications Analyst, thank you very much for speaking with us on TVC News. We appreciate your comments here.
Thank you.